What's going on, everybody? It's Grim here with Outside MTG, still featuring Combat Chuck.
I'm still here. I made it through white.
Yep, and now we're going to take down blue. So, kicking off blue, we got Teferi, Master of Time. Double blue, 2 others. For a 3 loyalty planeswalker with an ability we've never seen before on any planeswalker ever, that says you may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi, Master of Time on any player's turn anytime you could activate an instant, which does in fact mean you can activate it on your turn and then again on your opponent's turn. So
Before we go into the review from a limited perspective, I just want to say one thing about this card. Chris, probably 6 months ago, you and I were having a discussion, and one of us talked about, I bet instant speed planeswalker type stuff is about to be here. And one of us, I don't know if it was you or I, but we were thinking...
I think you brought it up.
I think one of us was like, there's no way they're ever going to do that. That will break the game of Magic. Well, 6 months later...
Here we are.
Here we are. But it doesn't seem like it's going to break Magic. Just
we'll see.
And they could easily. If they continue with this...
Yeah, this could be the start of a bad trend.
Yeah, it could get real bad. But I think they purposely neutered this card because they knew how busted it could become.
Yeah, it's still probably going to be constructed playable, but we're here to talk about limited.
Yep. With all that being said, let's read the card.
So, +1, draw a card, then discard a card. -3, target creature you don't control phases out. If you're not sure how phasing works, welcome to Magic and 90% of the community. Basically, you just make a card disappear for a turn, or a turn cycle, pretend it doesn't exist, and then they get it back on their turn. And then -10, take 2 extra turns after this one. We actually talked about this card ahead of time, and hot take, neither one of us think it's very good for limited.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 mana, draw 2, discard 2, essentially. Sorry.
Bug.
Got a bug on him.
Welcome to outside.
Yeah, that's how you know this is the real outdoors. There's bugs on us. This card, guys, I mean, it could be good. It could. I honestly couldn't tell you.
Like, maybe the prowess deck is able to take advantage of it or something. I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. I'll take it as a C. Like, I'll play it, but honestly, I'm not even pack 1 pick wanting this ever, even with it being a planeswalker.
I guess I'm part of the 90% that doesn't understand how phasing works. When something phases back in, is it ETBing at that point in time?
Actually, I don't think it gets its ETB. It just comes back.
Okay.
And it is not affected by Summoning Sickness when it comes back either, because they controlled it since the beginning of their turn, basically. Phasing's really weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, this is one that I would say at your pre-release, if you're going to play this card, make sure you get with a judge maybe beforehand or something and just ask them, hey, how are you going to rule this card? How exactly does this work? Because you really don't want to get yourself in a position where you thought it worked one way, but in reality it worked another. Another key thing to keep in mind with this card is it only phases out your opponent's creatures. So also don't get in this situation where you think you can block
then
before damage, phase. That's not going to work for this. So just do your research on this one before you get started. I'm not a judge, so I'm not going to tell you exactly how it works, but I will tell you to go talk to one. Just by first impression, I'm not really into it. I'm not really into it. If the blue cards are there, maybe I don't know if I played at pre-release, but maybe I played on Arena, and try it out first. If packs are real actual paper card packs are on the line, I may want to steer away from this. I'm going to go with a C right off on first impressions, honestly.
Same. Like, it could turn out totally wrong. Maybe it's just a bomb card, but it doesn't feel like a bomb to me either. I'm going C. Like, you'll play it. It's a card.
It's a very interesting card.
Yeah.
Like, definitely one that I felt like, we needed to talk a little bit more about.
I mean, the -10 sounds good, where it's like, take 2 extra turns. If you were able to get this guy to 10 loyalty, you were going to win that game anyway. Next up, we have... I don't even know how to say that word.
Discontinuity? Discontinuity, I believe is how you say that. Discontinuity?
It's the new time stop. Triple blue and 3 others, you get an instant speed. As long as it's your turn, this spell costs 2 blues and 2 less to cast. And in the turn. So, more often than not, it's kind of a glorified counter spell that can also let you take an extra turn, or you can make your opponent, just skip their turn, but I'm not into it. I'm not into it at all. Like, I love this kind of card. It's one of my favorite style of, like, commander cards. I might even try to play it in Constructed, maybe, but I think in general you just avoid this card at all costs. I'm giving it an F.
This is an F.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I love the card.
Oh, yeah, card's awesome.
In Constructed, oh my goodness.
Yeah, card's awesome.
This would be so cool. What if in, like, Constructed, like a Teamer Reclamation deck, or like in the Mirror or something like that,
Right.
they were like, tap all this in the turn. Sorry.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
That card's really cool.
Yeah.
I like what that card can do. But yeah, F and limited. Don't.
avoid
You're
it.
sad to see that in your pack.
Yeah,
Sorry
just,
guys, if you get it.
Avoid it. Next up, we have Baron Talarian Archmage. 2 blues and 1 other. Gets you a 2/2 legendary human wizard. And whenever it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. And at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent was put into your hand from the battlefield this turn, draw a card. I mean, this set doesn't have just a ton of ETBs you're super into.
This is real tempo-y.
Yeah,
you know?
it's more often than not, this is simply just going to be a 3-mana 2/2 that comes down and bounces something. Like, I'm not super into it, but I'm not super opposed to it either. I don't know.
It's you got to have some supporting cast with this thing.
Yeah.
Because you're dirtling. You're not going to get there on beats with this card. You need to have something. I would almost say you play this card late game. You don't want to play this on turn 3.
Yeah,
It's
all right.
I think it's going to be way more valuable late game than it would be early game.
Yeah, like I give it a C.
You don't want to see this in your opening hand. You really don't.
Like,
Yeah.
I give it a C, and like hopefully if you can get a couple ETBs and you have like a reason to want to return things to your hand, sure. But say just for the most part, it's a 3-mana 2/2. It's Exclusion Mage.
Yes. Yeah. And Exclusion Mage was awesome in
Yep.
its time in the Sun and Standard, but
It also wasn't double blue.
right. No, it's a C.
Yeah.
It's a C. Yeah.
Next up, we got one I'm kind of feeling. Blue and 1 other. I'll get you Ghostly Pilferer. It's a 2/1 Spirit Rogue, and whenever it becomes untapped, you may pay 2 generic mana. If you do, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card, which probably isn't going to be relevant too often in this limited format, and then you can discard a card, and it can't be blocked. Like, I like it.
That creature cannot be blocked,
If you discard a card.
and you can draw with it too.
Yeah. If you pay 2 generic whenever it becomes untapped, you can draw a card.
That's a really cool card.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I like it.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't be surprised to find out this card's a B. I'm going with C for now, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out it's a B.
I like it.
Like
I
this-
almost want to say this is kind of one of those cards that you can't let just hang around.
Yeah, like, you need to answer it, for sure.
It's going to draw a lot of cards, or it's going to slowly beat you to death. I like it. Now I could also see myself getting decking myself with this type of card. I'm known to do that, by the way. I know for all you guys who've never played Limited with me, I love drawing cards, and sometimes my decks do it a little too well. I'm going. That's a high C, possibly B, like you said.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. That's something that can't just stick around, though.
Well, next up, we have the Pursued Well. For 2 blues and 5 others, that's 7 total, you get an 8/8, which is not something blue gets more power than its casting cost without some kind of downside.
Yeah.
The downside on this card is whenever it enters the battlefield, each opponent creates a 1/1 red pirate creature token with this creature can't block, and creatures you control attack each combat if able, and spells your opponents cast that target Pursued Well cost 3 more to cast. Like,
So, guys, this could be a trap card.
yeah, very
This,
easily.
This could be, if your opponent is a low to the ground aggro, you're already low on life.
Yeah, you're trying to drop
You-
a 7 mana spell.
You drop this guy and you go, here, opponent, here's enough 1/1s to just finish me off when you untap. I feel like this is unless you've got some sort of answer to wipe their side of the board, or
And it's 7 mana on top of that with no evasion. They can
This
just
is-
chump it forever.
this is a trap card
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I don't like it. I want to
oh.
say D because it's an 8/8, so maybe you play it because you just your 23rd cards and 8/8.
If you've controlled them to the point where they don't really have a board state,
yeah, you can
and you can drop an 8/8 onto the board and they get very little out of it,
and and you can force them to swing into it. I mean,
that's what you want. Okay, that's ideal scenario for this card, but
7 mana is asking a lot.
You're going up against aggro deck. This is the kiss of death. Like I don't know, guys. That's a tricky one. That's a D.
Yeah, I'm going D.
D. Yeah, it's too risky.
If you're really controlling and you can buy enough time to get a 7 drop down, sure.
On an empty board, because
Yeah.
it needs to be an empty board.
Yeah, but or just a very, very limited
Yeah, a
one.
weak board. Like, yeah, that's a D.
Yeah.
And this thing, it's an 8/8, right?
Right, a
Like
7 mana
an
8/8.
8/8 in limited is just freaking ridiculous.
There's not a ton of ramp in this set either, so you're not getting it out ahead of schedule. Next up, we got See the Truth for a blue and 1 other. You get a sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of those cards into your hand, and the rest of on the bottom of your library in any order. If this spell was cast from anywhere other than your hand, it's a 2 mana draw 3.
This is a solid card. This is a B.
I mean, I don't think it is, because I don't think you're ever gonna cast this from anywhere besides your hand.
Is it sorcery or
a sorcery?
Oh, it's a sorcery.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's kind of a
Okay,
yeah, it's like
so you're
it's
taking a turn.
yeah, to do a bad impulse. I'm not into it.
Yeah, that's a D. Sorry, I thought
Yeah.
that was I misheard you. I was thinking instant. If it instant speed, that's your instep. You could kind of filter the top 3 cards, and even if you were able to just get 1 at their instep, and possible to hold up counter magic and stuff too. And
Yeah.
that's a D. I'm not feeling that.
Next up, we got the Shacklegeist for a blue and 1 other. You get a 2/2 flying spirit. It can only block creatures with flying, and you can tap 2 untapped spirits you control to tap target creature you don't control. There are a number of spirits in this set, but I don't know if I would necessarily count on having access to that activated ability. But a 2/2 flyer for 2.
Yeah, that's a 2/2 flyer. I mean, he's only going to get down on the beats, but
I mean, 2/2 flyer for 2 is pretty lit.
if you're in the flying archetype, you're not here to block really anyway.
Yeah.
You're
Trying to get 'em.
you're trying to turn sideways and get in there and bust some heads. So I like it. I'm going with it. That's a C.
Yeah, for sure. I'm playing it.
Yeah,
I've never hit it with pack 1, pick 1, but I'm down. Next up, we have the Stormwing Entity. 2 blues, 3 others. Get you a 3/3 flying elemental. But this spell costs a blue and 2 others less to cast if you cast an instant or sorcery this turn. It has flying, it has prowess, and when it enters the battlefield, you scry 2.
I like this card.
Yeah, I'm about it. If you're in the prowess deck, you take it. Honestly, I'm giving it a B because if I see it pack 1, pick 1, I'm taking it, and I'm taking it, and I'm forcing prowess.
I'm with you. This card
that's pretty
is
solid.
incredible. All the different things that it can do. I mean, it can just come down and
Potentially for a blue and 1 other, I get a 3/3 flyer with prowess, and it scries 2. A deal.
yeah, I like it. That's a B.
Next up's a weird one. This is the Baskin Robbins card with a 31 flavors. For 2 blues and 4 others, Sublime Epiphany. So choose 1 or more. Counter target spell. Counter target activated or triggered ability. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Target player draws a card. You can choose all of those, 2 of those, 3 of those, or it could just be a horrible cancel. Like, it's up to you, but that's a weird one.
I don't like this.
Like, I don't know how I feel about this card. It does so much stuff, but
In constructed, where you can kind of control the early game, go late game, you can get a lot of value out of this. And limited though, by turn 6,
I mean, but hey, it can copy your Pursued Will.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm kind of like
Yeah, this card's either a B or a D, but I don't know where it falls on that scale. I think the speed of this format is going to determine how good this card actually is.
Yeah, that
Like,
one.
If you can, holding up 6 mana doesn't feel great either, but it does so much.
God, you don't want this in your opening hand though. Wouldn't it just feel
for
terrible?
sure. Yeah,
Like
if it's in your opener, you already took a mold of 6.
like, oh god, that. I mean, just for that fact alone, this is a card you don't want to see in your hand at some point in time in the game.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those cards we're gonna have to play with it to actually get a feel for how good it really is. But I'm intrigued.
There's potential.
Yeah, like if you can cast a spell, you can You can generate a lot of tempo. A lot.
All right, for now, I'm going C. I'm shooting the gap here.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it could be really good or it could be really bad. I'm just going to shoot the gap for now, and we'll see how it plays out.
And next up, we have a legendary enchantment. Don't see too many of those. Teferi's Ageless Insight. For 2 blues and 2 others, if you would draw a card except for the first one you draw on each turn of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. I'm not down with it. Maybe the Prowess deck likes this, but in general, I'm not about it. It's a great commander card.
This sounds like one of those cards that gets me decked.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you draw even one, if you play a spell that allows you to draw a card, you're essentially, I mean, at the bare minimum, you drew 4 cards that turn. Is that am I hearing that
no,
right? Or,
yeah.
Because you have your
No,
draw step,
it'd be 3.
and then you have
Yeah, it's a replacement.
Okay,
effect,
so
you draw
it's 3.
Yeah.
So you're at the bare minimum, you're drawing 3 a turn on with this.
Well, provided you have card draw going on, which there seems to be plenty of in blue so far.
Okay, and what's the CMC on this?
4. 2 blues, 2 others.
So on turn 4, I can think of a lot of better things I'd like to do than play
for
this
sure,
enchantment.
yeah. I was gonna say D. F.
I'm
to
doing F.
Yeah.
I don't.
There's never a world that I want to play this. Maybe the Prowess deck, it could be a D, but that's about it.
This has a high setup cost to just draw cards. Like that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
Like there's
Sometimes.
Yeah. Like there's no real like your opponent plays that. Are you going to get worried?
No.
I'm going to get excited
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
like,
it's like
hell
it's
yeah,
like-
he sucks at drawing cards or picking cards.
Yeah,
Let's
it's like
go.
you took a turn off. Deal.
Yeah.
Nice time walk opponent.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Enthralling Hold. 2 blues, 3 others. It'll get you an aura. Whoa. You can't choose an untapped creature as this spell's target as you cast it. You control enchanted creature. So just straight up gain control of target tapped creature. Is basically what it is. 2 blues, 3 others, gain control of target tapped creature.
If Standard here of recent has taught us anything, taking something that doesn't belong to you is a pretty freaking powerful thing.
I'm a fan.
This is B. This is. Oh, is this an A? I mean, it's.
I don't think it's an A because you have to take a tapped creature. I mean, like, it's not full blown out treachery, but it's pretty good. Like, it's pretty good.
So, I mean,
it is technically a 2-for-1. Like, you took something from them, you added to your own board state in exchange for 1 card. I mean, I like 2-for-1s.
It would be so bad. Somebody plays the well, gives you a bunch of tokens, and then you take their well with it too, and you smash them with their well and all their tokens that they get. Oh my god, that's so gross.
Now, I'm gonna give this a B. It is a little expensive, but being able to. This is better than removal.
It's better than removal.
Yeah, like you're down to play 5 mana removal spells. This is a removal spell that takes the card. I'm down. I'm giving it a B.
This is a B. You're picking the heck out of this
Yeah,
card.
I'll pick one this some amount of the time.
It's uncommon. You can mess around and get a couple of those in your pool. That would be sick.
Yeah, it's all like, man, you remember that one time your draft pool didn't have any bombs, but your opponent did? Now you do.
Yeah, turn 5, I'll take that. Turn 6, I like that one too. I'll take that one too. Oh my god. Oh, brutal.
Next up, for a blue and 1 other, we have Jeskai Elder. It's a 1/2 human monk with prowess. Whenever Jeskai Elder deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. I mean, if I'm in the prowess archetype, I'm about it. But on average, not really.
He's got to get there. Yeah,
like
that's the thing. He's got to get there. You got to get. I don't know. You need some kind of evasion.
I mean, with the prowess, I love it in the prowess deck, but I mean, I guess that applies to every card with prowess. Like, I think on average, this is probably a D, but in the prowess deck, I think it becomes a strong C. 1/2 for 2.
1/2 for 2.
Yep, prowess deals damage. You get to loot.
Yeah, I'll go C. So far, I haven't been just super impressed with blue. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
It just seems like you're kind of standing around getting punched in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem like a lot of blue cards hinge on if my opponent doesn't have anything, I'm gonna be great.
I mean, we're early into this. Maybe there's going to be some greatness.
My mind can be changed.
But here so far, I mean, even Teferi was kind of.
Yeah, seems pretty lackluster. Next up, for 1 blue, instant speed, we have Miscast. Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 3. I'm not a huge fan of counter magic on average and limited, and I definitely don't like this for limited. I'm saying F. Maybe it's a D out of the sideboard if your opponent's a prowess deck, but I'm not playing this card.
What are you playing this? You're playing this to protect your creature essentially, or to not get your spell countered.
And even then, it's not going to stop you from enchantment-based removal. It only stops instants and sorceries if they can't pay the 3.
Maybe in the sideboard, if you're going against somebody with a lot of interaction, or
yeah, it's a D out of the board. I like it out of the board a little bit, but just in general, F. I'm not about it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Next up, we have Reign of Revelation, blue and 3 others. Draw 3 cards, then discard a card, which might sound a lot like Sift, except Sift was a sorcery. This is an instant. The fact that this is instant speed, I'm listening. I'm about it. I'll play this card, especially in the Prowess deck. Man, the Prowess deck, this card's going to be lit. I give it a C. I like it.
Yeah, I would go with a C. I'm seeing a lot of ways to, loot, as they say, in blue so far, which is kind of strange. You typically see that in red a lot more.
Well, red likes to discard then draw.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I play it. It's kind of different than what I'm used to. A lot of times it's just draw.
Yeah.
But
4 mana, draw 3, ditch 1. I'm down. And actually, black blue has a small reanimator thing going on, so that could be relevant there too. I'm playing this card.
Yeah.
In the right deck anyway. Give it a C.
C.
Next up is Rewind, reprint from way back when. Double blue, 2 others, instant speed, counter target spell, and then untap up to 4 lands. So I mean, it sounds like a free counter spell, and maybe in constructed this will be playable, but for limited, I'm not down for 4 mana counter target spell. More often than not, that's all it's going to be, just 4 mana counter spell. I mean, if you have Rewind plus Reign of Revelation in your hand, awesome. Good luck doing that.
What are the chances that you're going to have the ability to counter 2 things in one turn?
Yeah.
With this card too, I'm not feeling it. This is a D.
Yeah, hard. This might even be an F. I guess you play it if you don't have a choice, but you're trying to avoid this card. Next up, we have another reprint, Riddle Form. This is actually kind of a cool card. For a blue and 1 other, you get an enchantment, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may have Riddle Form become a 3/3 Sphinx creature with flying in addition to its other types until end of turn, and then has an activated ability for a blue and 2 others. Scry 1. The Prowess deck loves this. Loves this
card. Can you
card.
play this on turn 2?
Sure.
I like it. A 3/3 flyer on 2 is basically kind of how I'm looking at this.
And I mean, you can ambush them instant speed. They come in attacking. You cast Opt. Here's my 3/3. Get some. And it's a late game mana sink. Yeah, just to dig to whatever you need. I like this card a lot. I am about Riddle Form.
If this was a 3-drop, I wouldn't be so much about it. But at 2, it's still early. You kind of just setting yourself up for great things later on with it. I'm C.
I might go so far as to give this a B. We'll see how strong the Prowess archetype is, but it's got a lot of potential in this card. It's got a lot of potential. I'm going B for now. Uh-oh. All right, everybody strap in for this one. We got another shrine. You don't like the B? Sanctum of Calm Waters. For a blue and 3 others, legendary enchantment, Shrine. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may draw X cards, where X is the number of shrines you control. If you do, discard a card.
How do you not play this card?
Yeah, hard pass.
No, I'm kidding. I think the appropriate question is, why would you play this card?
Like all the other shrines in this set, I'm super looking forward to getting destroyed in Historic, trying to play Shrine Tribal, but in Limited, hard pass. I'm giving it an F.
These are just janky cards you have fun with, when you're just building jank and hanging out with your friends, trying to see who can come up with silliness.
Yeah. You will 100% see this card in a future edition of Janken though.
You know, I could be wrong though. Maybe Wizards of the Coast is like, you know what, guys? Let's set them up. Shrines will be the new little Teferi. They just don't know yet.
And next up, we got Shipwreck Dowser. 2 blues and 3 others will get you a 3/3 Merfolk Wizard with prowess. And when it enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. It's alright. If you're in the prowess deck, you're about it. If you're not in the prowess deck, you're probably not about it. 'Cause, I mean,
Oh, it's a 5-drop.
yeah,
Oh.
and double blue. Like,
Oh.
I think this is probably a D on average.
I'm with you, man. Doesn't it just feel like that? If that would have cost 3,
This
you
format,
know,
this,
you
this,
could just
this,
you could just say that's a B, even. You know.
I mean, this format seems slow enough. You could probably get away with this. You'll play it in the prowess deck. I mean, on average, though, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah,
I'm not about it.
I'm not. I'm a D on that one myself.
Next up, we got Teferi's Tutelage. For a blue and 2 others, you get an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and discard a card. And whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2. Which, man, in limited, mill can be pretty strong, but
It's very powerful if you have the cards.
yeah, like this is a card you could actually play alongside that legendary enchantment, maybe. But
Yeah, the thing about Mill, it's so much fun to play, right?
Oh, sure.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do in Limited.
I
But you-
don't think there's very many good mill
can't-
cards in this
you
format.
can't force it, though. If you force it, a lot of times you just get run over. You've got to have a really
Unless you're playing Throne of Eldraine.
Unless you're playing Throne of Eldraine. But you really got to have a great supporting cast with some good removal spells. Just something to keep you alive long enough to get there. But it's an F by
Yeah.
itself.
And honestly, I don't think mill has enough support in this to really be the archetype you want to chase down. Like I'm going F as well.
Yeah.
Next up, for a blue and 3 others, we got Tide Skimmer. It's a 2/3 flyer, and whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures with flying, draw a card. Nothing too
Okay.
flashy, but that's the reason to be blue-white flyers.
Yeah, okay. Now we're talking. I haven't seen anything so far in our set reviews that's really wanted to encourage me to go that route. They're starting to turn to me though.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a pretty good one.
I'm liking that. And what's the CMC on that again?
Blue and 3 others get you a 2/3 flyer.
Okay, so it comes down mid-game essentially, and can kind of help start drawing gas
Yeah.
later on too. I'm really feeling that. That's a C.
I'll give it a D
A
on
B,
average.
a B in the build around. A C
Think so?
otherwise. If you've got a strong supporting cast, I think this card could really come down and
It does keep the gas
seal
coming.
the game. Yeah.
I think on average it's probably a D, but I think it's a very high C if you're in blue-white flyers. Next up, we have Tolarian Kraken. 2 blues and 4 others get you a 4/6 Kraken, and whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1 generic mana. When you do, you may tap or untap target creature. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
kind of awesome.
Maybe.
So it's a big
It's 6
a,
mana, though.
It's a big beat stick.
What's a 4/6? I mean, it has a nice
Oh,
butt on it.
it's a 4/6.
Yeah.
Okay, dyslexic moment there. I was thinking 6/4.
Oh, it's 6/4. I like this card much more.
Yeah, if it was 6/4, that's what I was thinking at first. I'm thinking, oh wow, that you could tap something down and just get your
I
beats
mean,
on. But
you are guaranteed to draw a card every turn.
I still kind of like it. You can kind of it's like a form of evasion, kind
Sorta.
of. You know, you're
Maybe.
just saying you go in timeout other creature. You know, what if you drew 2 cards that turn? What if
I
you
mean-
what if you pop something and you
I mean, honestly,
You drew 3, you know?
honestly, I think this is probably comparable to Frilled Sea Serpent, which we had before. That was also a 6 mana 4/6 that you could pay to make it unblockable.
You know what could there be like a draw deck archetype that we're not seeing yet? And this may be like the first. We've seen a lot of
Yeah.
like draw spells, and this is kind of that first real big payoff to it that we've seen. And maybe as we continue to go here, maybe
like-
there's a draw archetype
Yeah, like
here.
like I'm not impressed with it now, but I can maybe have my mind changed.
Yeah, maybe there's some other really cool cards that could go with that. But I don't know. I think I play this card, Chris. I do.
I could see it, like especially if you're trying to dirtle around a little bit, get them late in the game. You play this guy, you follow up with your Pursued Well. Yeah, no, I'll give it a low C. A very low C. I could be wrong. This card could end up being kind of awesome, though. But it costing 6 mana, I'm giving it a low
Never
C.
underestimate the power to tap something down.
I mean, there's something to be said for that.
Look at Icy Manipulator. How
Yeah.
amazing is Icy
Yeah,
Manipulator?
that is pretty good.
And it costs 4 to play.
And it doesn't
then
come with a body?
Yeah, and it doesn't come with a body.
Okay, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Don't underestimate that
Fair
power.
enough.
That is incredible power.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. That's fair.
That could just come down and take a game over.
Yeah. So next up, we got Unsubstantiate, blue and one other. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. Just a tempo-y card. It's definitely going to see constructed play. Definitely. But
Wait, what? It's a blue and one other?
yep, blue and one other. It's basically remand without the card draw.
Yeah. Yeah. Or a callous dismissal without a
Sure.
mass
Yeah.
token.
Yeah, like I'll give it a D. Like you're down with it in the prowess deck. I think the prowess deck plays it, but that's about it. I mean,
You're
it's
just with this card, you're kind of just buying time. Hopefully, you got some payoffs. I can tell you, I've had cards like this, an abundance of them in sealed pools before, but never had a payoff, and it just doesn't work. If you don't have the payoffs at the end, cards like this are worthless.
Yeah, like I say, I think the prowess deck plays it, but even they're not in a hurry to play it. Like I would probably avoid this card for the most part.
Yeah, that's a D for me.
Next up, we got Waker of Waves, 2 blues, 5 others, 7 mana. We got yet another well. This
Jeez.
one's a 7/7.
Okay.
Creatures your opponents control get -1/-0. Make them all a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Blue and one other, you can discard Waker of Waves. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand, the other into your graveyard. I kind of like that it has the cycle ability.
I mean,
It's not technically cycling, but it's cycling. Let's keep it real.
yeah. This card's awesome.
It's 7 mana, which I'm not a huge fan of, but so far this set does look fairly slow. Like you might be able to get away with this.
The fact that it shrinks the opponent's power across the board.
I mean, you know what? I'm talking about this card, but you remember, was it War of the Spark? No, it was Ravnica Allegiance. We had that blue-white for 6 mana total. It was a 3/3 flyer that did this same thing, where all of your opponent's creatures got -1/-0, and I love that card. Was it Azoria Sky Knight, I think it was called? I was extra about that card.
I think this has the possibility to be really good.
This could actually end up being a good card. It being 7 mana, I would normally just immediately shake it off, but this format does look fairly slow.
It's a 7/7 for 7 though.
Yeah, with a static ability and a worst case scenario, ditch it. Look at the top 2, get your sleight of hand on. Like I like.
I'm not gonna say A. I mean, because it's 7 mana.
Yeah, this isn't a Baneslayer Angel, but it's pretty decent.
Dude, but a 7/7. If you untap with a 7/7, you're gonna wreck some face. And you shrunk all their guys. It's
Yeah.
like this well's about to flex on you.
I'm giving it a C just because it's 7 mana, but I like the card. It's pretty cool. I like that it has the fell case too, if you can ditch it.
I'm gonna get greedy. I'm giving it a B. Let's see what it can do.
Next up, cancel. 2 blue, 1 other, counter target spell. Nothing special. Like, I think on average, I'm not looking to play this. There are some decks that do want just 3 mana hard counter, but I'm going D.
I'll play 1. If I get a cut more than 1, I'm not gonna play more than 1. Again, these blue decks, you got to be real precise with what you're trying to do. Don't get too convoluted in countering and bouncing, and you need to have a direction you're going in and with an end game.
Yeah.
If you're just doing all this stuff and biding time,
yeah, it's not what you're trying to do.
Eventually you're going to lose. You got to be very precise with it.
Next up, we have a reprint that's always been great and limited. Capture Sphere, blue and 3 others. Aura, it has flash.
Yeah.
And when it enters the battlefield, tap the creature. That creature doesn't untap.
This card's awesome.
Yeah, love it.
B. Just plain and simple.
I will pack one, pick one in weaker packs for sure, and not even feel bad about it.
It has flash, for goodness sake. It's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It's so good. And so far I don't know I haven't seen a ton of artifact and enchantment hate. I've seen, we saw the dog that goes in, the white one.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that's all White had was the doggo, huh?
The doggo.
The 3, 4 for 5?
And we haven't gotten to green yet, but let's just
Yeah,
fair
I'm
to
sure they
assume
do.
there's some sort of
Yeah.
artifact and enchantment hate there, but it doesn't feel like a set that people are going to be mainboarding it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like in Theros, you were down to put Return to Nature main board and happy to do so. No one's doing that this set.
Yeah. Okay.
Next up, because every set ever has that can you collect them all build around. And this one's Frantic Inventory. For a blue and one other, instant speed, draw a card. Then draw cards equal to the number of cards named Frantic Inventory in your graveyard. If I only have one of these, I don't want it. I'm
Yeah.
not playing it. Maybe in the Prowess deck I'll play it, but... Got 3 of these? I got 4 of these?
This is a common, right?
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
common.
this could be one
Yeah.
of those cards that you mess around and you got 3 of them,
Yeah. Yeah, 2
You
mana
can-
draw a card, not great. 2 mana draw 2, sounded better. 2 mana draw 3, instant speed. Hell, we're only 1 colorless mana away from that thing being power 9.
And
So-
I'm telling you, blue seems to be churning cards so far.
Right? At this
Big
yeah,
time.
At this point, I kind of want to see a sealed pull with 3 Teferi's tutelages and like 5 of those.
I feel like there has to be a really big payoff for. There's a draw archetype somewhere here.
Maybe.
Maybe. I hope so.
I mean,
that would be really fun, right?
I
I mean,
mean,
if cycling can be an archetype in standard, why can't
Draw.
just draw be an archetype?
I mean, I think it'll go great in the Prowess deck. You just keep the gas coming and just keep pumping your dudes. Next up, we have Frost Breath, blue and 2 others, instant speed. Tap up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's next untap step.
I like this
Yeah,
card.
it's pretty decent. This will
it's-
buy you a lot of time.
It's like a bad sleep for
Yeah.
those of you that
Yeah.
are familiar with that card. I've won a lot of games with sleep.
Yeah.
I've won a lot of games, and you know what? Late game, they play their fatties. You can go to sleep or go, get frostbitten.
Yeah.
Get frostbitten, and I'm going to finish you off. I'm playing this card.
Yeah, I'm giving it a C, and the Prowess deck is going to love this.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's got to be kind of an aggro-y type.
Or you know
blue
what? Even in blue-white flyers,
yeah.
you tap down 2 other flyers, you just get free beats.
That's
in
where
there.
I like it. I like it in blue-white
Yeah.
flyers for sure. This isn't really. It's very easy to look at this as a tempo card, but this is
Yeah, no, I think-
a finisher.
Yeah.
Is what this is. You
Yeah.
want to play this late game,
Get in for
get
them
in
last few
there,
beats.
and win.
Yeah.
So, for sure, I like it. I'm giving it a C plus, well, high C.
Yeah. I give it a C. I'm definitely playing it.
Yeah.
It's a playable card. You know, maybe not trying to pack 3 or 4 of them in your deck, but gladly play one.
Yeah.
And next up, we have the Keen Glide Master. Blue and 1 other gets you a 2/1 human soldier with an activated ability for a blue and 2 others. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. We had an enchantment like this recently that was really good. It did cost 1 less to activate it, like you mentioned earlier, but it didn't come attached to a 2/1 body. Like I'm about this card. I'm feeling this.
This is awesome. How would it feel to have a big fatty somewhere in your deck, knowing at any point in time you have the possibility to give this guy wings
Yeah,
and
for
go
sure.
smashing into somebody?
Or you just have a late game mana sink. You know, you're sitting there with 7/9 mana in play. You just activate this, give 3 of your creatures flying, go get them.
I'm liking it.
Yeah, I'm definitely playing this card if it's in my sealed pool. I'm drafting it if it comes around to me.
Yeah.
I'm not pack one pick wanting it or anything, but this is a very high C.
Yeah, it's evasion for anything you want.
You know, if this format does turn out to be as weird as it seems, this could be one of the best commons in the set. Like, for sure.
Just what we talked about in the previous set review for White, we talked about the Pegasus card that would give something
Yeah.
flying. I distinctively remember that card being incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the ability to give something that doesn't fly flying can be a huge problem
Oh,
for your
yeah.
opponent.
Yeah, and even when you talk about drafting bread, you know, bombs removal, evasion. This lets you give lots of things evasion potentially.
I like it. You're hoping, I mean, or at least I'm hoping to have something, maybe a 4 power, at least to be slamming it through the air
Oh,
with this
for
thing.
sure.
You know, I think with a lesser power, you're not going to get.
I mean,
as
honestly,
much.
I'll take whatever beats I can get, though.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just greedy. I want a big fatty flying through the air.
For sure. Next up, for a blue and 2 others, we have the Library Larcenist. It's a 1/2 Merfolk Rogue, and whenever it attacks, draw a card. But you know, initially I looked at this card and didn't like it, but you know what? For my Korga draft, we had Thieving Otter. It was a blue and 2 others for a 2/2 that had to deal combat damage to draw a card. This just has to attack. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling this a little bit.
Imagine giving that guy some wings.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All of a sudden, your
sure.
mono blue tempo. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my Curious Obsession on right quick.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that'd be a really fun little build, a little 1-2 punch for your opponent there.
I mean, it is a 1/2 for 3, which isn't amazing, but maybe this is just a D. Maybe I'm getting too caught up on the card draw because I too love to draw cards.
This is a D.
Yeah. It probably
Because
is.
you know, my mind, I'm trying to think of, if I did this and I did this with this, you know, I could make
Yeah.
it great, but
Yeah, so basically
what
it's not
about
good on
just
its
by
own.
itself?
If
you
this
know?
card had prowess, though, it'd be lit. But it does not. It's just a dude. So yeah, I'm going to go with D as well. Next up, we have Lofty Denial, blue and 1 other, instant speed. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. But if you control a creature with flying, counter that spell unless its controller pays 4 instead. So obviously you're only playing this in blue-white flyers. It's an F. If you're not in blue-white flyers, just hard no. Never, ever, ever, never. But in blue-white flyers,
I'm with you on that. Or maybe just mono blue flyers. I mean, I could.
Maybe.
I'm starting to think that actually might be more, a real possibility depending on your card selection you have to go with. By itself, I'm not really feeling this. It's like a really bad spell pierce kind of. Maybe
I don't know. Like I say, in flyers, I'll play it. But other than that, it's a straight F. Just avoid this card if you're not playing, I would say, at least 10 plus cards with flying.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Next up, we have Mistral Singer, blue and 2 others. Get you a 2/2 flyer with prowess. I'm down. I'll play it.
Yeah, you could really get in on this.
Yeah, like I'm not going out of my way to draft this card or anything, but if it's in my sealed pool, I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, I'm feeling that.
Yeah, like I'd give this a C.
I haven't seen a lot of pump type stuff, combat tricky pump stuff. I've seen a few where they give counters and stuff like that.
Like I say, that's prowess though. It'll keep growing.
But maybe in another color we'll see maybe like red. You can see a lot more pump stuff.
Sure.
You might blue, red. Is it prowess? Could be a very real archetype in this limited environment. I could definitely see that too. Depends on what red looks like when we get there.
And next up, classic card, Opt. 1 blue mana, scry 1, draw a card.
I play Opt. I love Opt.
It's I don't know. It's a card.
Yeah. You scry, draw.
Yeah, I'm not going out of my way for it, but if I'm in blue, I'll take it. If I'm in prowess, though, I'm about this. I think it's a D on average, but in prowess, I think it's a very solid C.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm C. Good solid one.
Next up, we have Read the Tides, blue and 5 others for a sorcery. Choose 1. Draw 3 cards. Return 2 target creatures to their owner's hand. I'm not really into this for 6 mana.
For 6 mana? Oh.
Yeah, 6 mana draw 3 or 6 mana bounce 2 at sorcery speed. Like, I'm giving this a D. You play it if you just didn't have a choice.
Agreed. I'm not playing this card. I'm probably not. I mean, even if it's there,
yeah,
I don't like it.
I'm playing this because I didn't have a choice. I needed a 23rd card.
You got a really bad seal pool, and you're just like, oh, whatever. I don't want to go home yet.
Yeah.
This card's an F.
Next up, we have Roaming Ghostlight. 2 blues, 3 others. Get you a 3/2 flyer. It's a spirit, relevant creature type in this one. And whenever it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target non-spirit creature to its owner's hand. So 5 mana, 3/2 flyer, ETBs, bounces something.
That's
alright.
decent.
It's alright. If this card had flash, I would love it.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Man, that'd be awesome.
I don't know. It's alright. It's playable.
I'm going to say it's a C.
Maybe. This format does seem kind of slow. The 3/2 body might be okay. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a D. We'll see where it ends up shaking out at. Next up, Rookie Mistake. 1 blue mana, instant speed. Until end of turn, target creature gets +0/+2, and another target creature gets -2/-0. I think you only play this in the Prowess deck.
Agreed. I can't see like a Durley deck trying to
Nah.
play this card at all. Yeah, this is a Prowess thing. Again, maybe possibly something really good in like an Is It build.
Yeah, you can't even like ambush in combat to like take something out with this card. Like it's purely for Prowess. Other than that, I would avoid this card at all
Yeah,
costs.
without Prowess, it just kind of seems like two creatures just gonna, you know,
Yeah.
just boom.
Yeah, and just nothing. You can do way better for. Oh, just period. Next up, for a blue and 2 others, we have Rousing Reed. It's an aura. Whenever it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Enchant a creature gets +1/+1 in flying. I'm kind of about that. Like blue and 2 others, it's almost a divination, and the creature gets +1/+1 in flying. Like I play this card. I usually don't like auras, but
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it being an aura, but
I mean it does give you card selection. Picks up 2 cards, and you get to ditch one.
I don't know. I don't know. If you're in blue, you're obviously going to have access to a lot of flyers already. So, and if you have a lot of flyers, I mean, why would you even play this card? Okay, because your old deck flies
yeah, but-
already. So,
Yeah, but if
what
you're
you
like-
want to do
Yeah, but if
is
you're like blue green though, you get to hook up like
blue green, yeah, or maybe even an Is It thing. You know, again, like.
I think I'm down to play this card. I don't generally give auras any grades that are even close to good, but I'm giving it a C. I just like that the fact that it ETBs, draws 2, discards 1, and it gives a keyword and a pump all for 3 mana.
It's solid, you know. Even if you do get 2 for 1 with it, I guess you do. I mean, for 3, you drew 2. I'm gonna go with D.
Yeah,
Just a
you're
D.
probably not wrong, but I'm going to stick with C on this one. Next up, we have the Spined Megalodon. For 2 blues and 5 others, you get a 5/7 shark. It has hexproof, and whenever it attacks, scry 1. No?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hexproof. That's awesome, but it's also 7 mana for a 5/7. Like,
If you got a lot of aura, I mean, again, this is a huge build around. You get a lot of auras, and you kind of.
oh sure, yeah. If you
You-
can get some auras, you strap this dude up and just go to town.
I remember there was a set with a turtle
Yeah,
that was. It was during Dominaria, I think it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
it was
like
the-
a 3/4 hexproof or something like that. I
4 or
can't.
5, something.
4 or 5. I can't
remember the
remember.
one you're talking
But
about.
this was also the same set that had angelic wings on it. So you would make your
Oh, yeah,
turtle
on Sarah's wings.
on Sarah's wings. Yes.
Yeah.
So you give your hexproof turtle the ability to fly, and it might as well have just been an Emrakul
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in a limited
Seriously.
environment. Like,
Seriously,
oh my
yeah. If
god.
on Sarah's wings hit that card, you're done for. Now it's legendary. It's even harder to deal with. Yeah.
So I mean, again, I'm not one to underestimate the power of hexproof.
Oh, it's an incredibly powerful keyword.
Hexproof is. I mean, it's incredible. What's the CMC on this? 7?
7.
Golly, I
For a
thought. I guess
5/7.
Wizards of the Coast was like, all right, no more of this flying turtle crap. They're definitely deterring it with that CMC.
Yeah, I'm giving it a D.
It's a D. It's 7 mana. Ah!
Yeah, like the only thing keeping this card from being an F is its hexproof.
Oh man, but you could.
It could get bad.
Oh.
At some point in time, you may lose a game to this thing where it got flying and you just can't touch it.
And you're gonna have those flashbacks. It's the turtle all over again.
Next up, we got Teferi's Protege, a blue and 2 others. Get you a 2/3 human wizard. And with an activated ability, for a blue and 1 other, you can tap it, draw a card, discard a card. I'm not really into it.
You know, during the Ravnica set, you kind of had cards like this. You know, they were all, like almost like 2/2 bodies, 2/3 bodies, and they all had little special activated abilities and stuff like that.
I guess this does let you churn through your deck late game. I'm still giving it a D, though.
It's
Like,
a D. I didn't really like the stuff in
Yeah, like,
Ravnica either.
Yeah,
I mean,
like, it's alright. Like, you'll play it as your 23rd card.
you know, if you're activating that ability, you know what that means? It means you're losing, probably.
Most likely.
Or-
yeah, you're trying to discard lands to
Yeah,
find
it's-
anything else than what you have.
Like, it's not. It may save you. I don't know. It's D.
Oh, look. We found a card draw payoff.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an amazing one, but for a blue and 3 others, you get a 3/3 spirit, Tome Anima. And it can't be blocked as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. A 3/3 unblockable is pretty lit, but I don't know how often you're going to be able to actually make that happen.
And there was a 2/1 we saw earlier that was
that was,
unblockable when you drew a card as well.
That was when you discarded a card.
Doesn't seem all that difficult.
No, yeah, no.
Based on what we've seen.
Definitely not.
I don't know. There may be a draw archetype here. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, but when you're not drawing cards, it's just a vanilla 3/3 for 4. Like,
yeah. Dang. Why is all the good cards gotta cost too much? I'm seeing this in this set.
I mean,
like,
it's a common.
Okay, we're still early in our set review too.
Like,
so
maybe this is a C. There is a ton of card draw. Maybe you play this in the prowess deck where you're trying to draw a bunch of cards anyway. This could be a C. I feel like it's going to be a D in any non-prowess deck, but the prowess deck might be down for this card.
it comes down and just gives you a 3/3 body.
Yeah, nothing special. Vanilla 3/3, but if you've drawn... Basically, if you found a way to draw an extra card this turn, it's unblockable.
So it has a bit of a setup cost. It's a D.
Next up, we have Vidalian Arcanist. Blue and one other. Get you a 1/3 Merfolk Wizard. You can tap it, add 1 generic mana to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell. Like, I'm not super into that.
It is a D for me.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling this card at all. I mean,
Yeah, it's not great. Next up, we have Wall of Runes, returning from... So was that from? Was that Ravnica?
Amonkhet.
Was that Amonkhet?
I think it was.
Oh, no, it was
it?
War of the Spark.
War of the Spark. That's
Yep.
it. Sorry. It's got an amass token looking
Yeah.
guy on it. Yeah.
Yeah, for 1 blue mana, you get a 0/4 wall with Defender. And whenever it enters the battlefield, you scry 1. Like, I don't think your average deck wants this. It's honestly probably an F for most decks, but if you're looking to get dirtily, hang in there. Play them 7 mana wells.
I don't know. I really don't like cards like that. Because you know what happens to me? It's turn 5. It's all like, all right, it's time to close this out. See what's on top of this deck.
Yeah, it's a great play on 1. It's an awful card to draw turn 8. Yeah, it's like I say, this is probably an F most of the time. Don't play it. It's maybe a D if you have to play it in a deck that wants to dirtle, but just try and avoid playing this card. And then our final blue card, save the best for last. Wishcoin Crab. Blue and 3 others, get you a vanilla 2/5. Don't play this card.
What? Oh. I was hoping that the crab card would, like, have some juice, you know? But
Well, whatever. Crab Tribal's been out of control and constructed. I'm just glad that we didn't get any more good crabs. I saw crab on this card and was all like, that's what we need, more crabs.
yeah.
But no, this card's, it's not a good card. It's just not. Don't play this card. You'll thank me later.
So, Grim, what are your thoughts on blue?
It's all right.
And we've seen all the blue cards.
Yeah, white looked far more impressive than blue. I will say that.
Yeah.
White actually looks like a really strong color to be in.
I feel
But I don't know. That prowess archetype could be pretty lit.
that's what I was going to say. I feel like blue is, you know, it's, again, I didn't see a lot with flyers so much. I mean, a few things.
And I didn't see a single blue card I'd consider a bomb. Like, not a single blue card got an A grade from us. Not one.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. You would assume that it's got to have at least one bomb. There wasn't even very many Bs.
You know what it feels like? It feels like with blue, you're just kind of
Spinning your tires?
spinning your tires and you're kind of trying to be dirtily. You're kind of trying to find that bomb. But you can't get it feels like you're not going to get there, you
Yeah.
know, and when you do get there, you're going to get a 7 mana should cost a lot less card, you know.
But hey, it has hexproof.
It has hexproof.
But yeah, that'll wrap up blue. See you for the next one.